Boogey Man! Hi, huge movie fanatic Nate coming at you to continuing the wind down of the 2015 October spooky Halloween season of horror movie reviews with a review for, I can't remember how to say exactly you say his name, Uli Lamel's The Boogey Man. I think this came out maybe 1980, something like that. Obviously, in my opinion, well, not just my opinion, but in factualness, the heyday of the slasher movie and all this and that after being, pretty much reinvigorated, or I guess in a way, sort of half-assed, maybe not half-assed, but sort of invented in a way. I mean, not fully. I mean, obviously Halloween isn't the first, slasher movie, but whatever. What I'm trying to say is Halloween really ignited this whole, horror movie, slasher movie craze of the late 70s, early 80s and stuff, and Boogey Man, like so many movies, like He Knows You're Alone and stuff like that, and probably many more that I have never seen, is just another blatant, completely and totally blatant Halloween ripoff, even probably more so than He Knows You're Alone. But I don't, so I reviewed He Knows You're Alone and said in that review that, the music is so blatantly just Halloween ripoff, just, really bad. And I'd say the same thing, maybe not to so much of an extent with The Boogey Man. I actually was just walking around today doing this and that and just kind of going dee, 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 dee. I was kind of just, humming and doing with my mouth the Boogey Man theme, da, 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 da. Anyway, I know you guys probably don't like when I do songs and I don't, when I with my mouth vocalize movie scores and themes, and I don't blame you, so that's why I stopped. But long story short, I kind of like, even though it's like a rip-off of the Halloween theme, I kind of like the music in the Boogey Man, just like the electronic, just electronic hokey-ass sound effects and this kind of stuff. Long story short, I actually like this film, not to be confused with the Sam Raimi executive-produced movie Boogey Man in the early, 21st century that came out. But the Boogey Man from 1980 or something like that, obviously this movie starts with the beginning of this movie is like 20 years ago, and of course that'd be like 1960 or something like that, and it's a complete rip-off of the beginning of Halloween, where you have an event with a young child. We'll just cut it short and say, okay, well, maybe we won't cut it short. This mom and this, boyfriend getting together on the couch, and Willie and Lacey are the two children of this apparently single mother who are out on the porch or out on the deck or whatever looking in, and this movie is very, very, very low budget. I think it was like maybe $300,000 or something like that, which, I think is like, I don't know, it's inexpensive for back then or whatever, especially now, but it's a very low budget movie. So like the girl in particular who plays the young Lacey is kind of like, I don't know, there's shots they use of her in the final movie where she's just making weird faces and looking down, and just like, in my opinion, they're not usable footage, but it's just weird. The young boy does a much better job. Long story short, I'm just kind of branching off into shit. The movie starts with a very Halloween ripoff where it's like it's really kind of creepy. It's lame and creepy at the same time, and I kind of like the gimmick where this chick, her mom, or the parents, or the mom of these two kids, Willie and Lacey, takes off her stocking and puts it over this boyfriend's head, and that's the only time you see his face is after the stocking's on there, and it's kind of a cheap ass, whatever, just Halloween. Not that it's trying to be Michael Myers or anything, but it's kind of a cool gimmick actually, just the stocking over the guy's head and shit. And that, as I said before, that's the only, we don't see his face until the stocking is over it. That's the only way you see his face. And then the kids are staring at him through the window. She prompts the boyfriend to tie up Willie, the sister, this is a little kid's flashback scene. The little sister goes and grabs a knife and cuts Willie loose, and he's got the complete total Halloween ripoff where it's like point of view and the knife comes up in the shot, tracking towards the bedroom door. And what I really like about this movie, in addition to like the music and the goofy, electronic sound effects, is also the lighting, the very, the color lighting where you got like oranges and yellows and, blues and reds and all these really, just like overly done color, which I think adds to the ambiance of the movie. I mean, it's kind of a hyper reality, you know, reality in this movie, and it's not really portrayed as it's a cool. I guess it's like Suspiria, you know, the movie Suspiria. It's a very cool effect. Just all these, you know, all these colors, you know. So of course he goes into the bedroom, and it's kind of cool because we see this young sister look at the mirror, then the camera pans over very slowly, and I like how it does it to the mirror, and then we see, you know, the young Willie stab the boyfriend to death in the mirror, and that's really kind of cool and stylistic. Long story short, we cut to later. It should be noted that Susanna Love, who plays, you know, the older Lacey, you know, the main character, pretty much main character in this movie, was at the time married to the director Uli Lamel, and her actual real life brother, who is, I think, Nicholas Love, plays, which is really cool, plays her brother, you know, which is the name of what? Willie? Yeah, in the movie. Which is really cool that, you know, Lacey and Willie in the movie are actual brother and sister for real. So the movie is just basically about, you know, living now, and Lacey and Willie are living with their aunt and uncle, I think, and on this farm, which is really cool. And basically we just see through a little exposition or whatever that, you know, Lacey is really still troubled by what happened 20 years ago and having nightmares about it. I think I started to say she's got her own little boy as well with her husband. And it doesn't take long before we realize that, you know, Willie hasn't spoken since the day. I mean, here, you know, it's kind of scary with this, you know, 20-year-old later, this kid who murdered his boyfriend or mom's boyfriend, because it's like he doesn't talk. He's kind of creepy. Is he a loose cannon? What's he gonna do? He collects knives. He's got snakes and, you know, tarantula in his room, and he collects knives and looks at them and goes, makes a funny face, which is funny. So we don't really know what's going on with Willie here. Is he a threat? Is he going to kill again? What's what? So long story short, it's funny because Lacey and Willie get like a letter from her mother saying, "God, I'm really just doing beat by beat." I just kind of like the movie, so whatever. When I'm excited about a movie, I guess I want to just share it with the world. And not that it's a great movie, but Lacey and Willie get a letter from their mother, just like, I think I should. The doctors say I won't live very long. I deserve to see you one last time. And anyway, the dream that what's her name has Susanna Love, and wakes up to a really lame ass, like overdubbed, almost like electronic scream, which is really funny. Prompts this going back. Oh, John Carradine makes a little, which is the guy from so many movies. You know, Silent Night, Bloody Night, The Howling, Shockwaves from the 70s. The guy with I've talked about before, the horrible, debilitating. In all these movies has the arthritis, you know, and he's still a trooper in making all these movies, but apparently in one day they shot, I think what in the movie plays to like 2 or 3, maybe just 2 or maybe 3, I don't know, just appearances with John Carradine, which is like some shrink who like hypnotizes her, and she does this exorcist, lame ass exorcist voice and stuff. But it's his suggestion that they go on a trip to the house where they grew up to see the house now instead of how it was then. And what's really cool, the movie doesn't seem like it's going anywhere for a while. And what's really cool is they'll go to the house, and the mirror's still hanging up in the bedroom where Willie, you know, murdered the mother's boyfriend. And it's really cool. And one of the highlight scenes of the movie, 20 years old later, grown up, Lacey goes into that bedroom and looks in the mirror and sees the guy, the boyfriend, with the, you know, whatchamacallit, stocking over his head, laying on the bed, looks back on the bed, there's nothing there, looks back in the mirror, sees him getting up, looks back at the bed, nothing there, back at the mirror, he's walking towards her. It's fantastic. It's a fantastic idea, fantastic gimmick. And he's really creepy looking because he's got the stocking over his head and his eyes are closed, and he's just really creepy. She freaks out, breaks the mirror. Long story short, from then on, you know, they take the mirror back to the farm, left a piece of the mirror in the house. So basically the pieces of the mirror, once you've broken the mirror where something horrific had been seen in, then wherever any pieces are, it's gonna just the boogeyman, apparently just the guy, the boyfriend, the spirit or whatever, the boyfriend just goes on to just kill. So that's it. I mean, that's kind of the premise of the movie, and I'm really surprised. I rewatched it lately, and I'm really surprised, having rewatched it, that I don't know, no one's remade like the Boogeyman, like this movie, or taken that idea. Maybe someone has. I mean, I haven't seen every movie ever made, but long story short, I love that idea of the mirror, and you know, just like a mirror that's seen something evil, and you break it apart, and all these different parts, shards and shit are, each part is possessive evil and all this crap. Cool idea, and you see the people who are not living in the house be offed, and what's really cool is a piece gets stuck on Lacey's son's shoe, and they go fishing, and it's reflecting all the way across what I think is the river to this, where these young people are having this cookout, and you see it reflected, which, just simply the sun reflecting off the mirror, shining it over across the river, is what kills these people. So it's a fantastically lame and cool at the same time idea, I think, and the way two of these kids are off is fantastic. In my opinion, the Boogeyman, Uli Lomel's The Boogeyman from 1980 or whenever it was, is a fantastic, perfect example of just really the kind of horror movies I eat up, which is kind of laugh at and just have fun with at the same time. You laugh at it like it's just gleeful fun, and that's what this movie in particular does for me. It's just fantastic, joyous fun. Try not to build it up too much because it's not that big a deal, but it's just gleeful, you laugh, instead of, some of the kills are just, kind of cool, and they make you smile. I mean, I guess I sound kind of crazy right there, but I mean, it's all fantasy, it's not real, it's movie making, it's art, art after all. So that's it. I'm just gonna bite the bullet. I don't think it's a 3-star movie, but I'm gonna give the Uli Lomel's The Boogeyman 3 stars. I think it's taking, it's a movie that's basically ripping off Halloween, but it's when I can remember watching it for the first time, and when that mirror started pulsating with red, and that, the shard that was left back, in the old house that Lacey and Willie grew up in, I'm just shit started happening as a result of it. I'm like, you know what? This movie started kind of lame, but that's kind of cool. The idea of just the broken mirror, and wherever it goes, and if it just shines across a distance, it can affect people over there by its shining at, and all this kind of shit. So really cool, pretty cool. Maybe not really cool, but pretty cool in my opinion. I completely understand if there's people out there who don't like it. It's completely understandable, because I can sympathize with that. But very surprising. He went on to make a lot of. Uli Lomel went on to make a lot of straight-to-video stuff for Lionsgate in the early, it's still the early 21st century, but in the, 05, 06, 07, this kind of stuff. And, I used to work at a video store around that time, and it always seems like every couple months there'd be a new one, on Lionsgate, stuff just lame-ass stuff that I don't think I ever watched. But, so he became a really super, 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 super low-budget filmmaker, movie maker after this. But some of his early stuff, this in particular, was kind of cool. So if you get a chance to check out The Boogeyman, I'd really recommend it. And to be honest, I got this really cool Anchor Bay double feature with The Boogeyman and Uli Lomel double feature with The Boogeyman and the Devonsville Terror. So I'm really fortunate to have what I would regard as probably the best version of The Boogeyman available. And I was watching it, I was going, I wish Scream Factory would put this out on Blu-ray, because I really think that it's one of these unsung kind of gems in a lot of ways, The Boogeyman. So thank you very much for watching this review, which is probably way too long, but the movie kind of excites me, not in that way, but in a more of a horror movie buff kind of way. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you next time.